Okay, PLC. Should I do a video on the class? On the stoplight. So I'm starting a new project. Choose the right PLC. Mine might be an ARE, I don't remember. Okay, now I wanted 3 subroutines. One for stop start, one for timers, one for counters. So I'm going to come in here to my subroutine programs and I'm going to add 3. So start stop. Start stop will actually be start stop to begin with, and then we will make it include the police switch. Okay, I want another one. And I'm going to put the timers in 1. And I want another one. I'll put the outputs. So the way I would write this program is get your timers working, get your stop start working, get your timers working. And then the outputs will be the trickiest part, and it'll be something that you will have to deal with. From the main program, I'm just going to call. Guess I got to be on output. Call. And I'm going to do them in order. I don't think you have to. And cancel. I meant to click on the call. Timers. And call. Outputs is good. Then I need an end. Okay, double click. That's all I should need for my main run. Now I can make it conditional if I want to, but I can do everything within the subroutine. What I want to focus on today is stop start. Stop start, I hope you can do. At least initially stop start. Now later on, I'm going to have you add a cop switch to it. And what the cop switch will need to do is disable your cycle on condition. Okay, so whenever it's flipped, it needs to, if the cycle is on, it needs to turn it off. And that will be a change to a standard start stop. But it's one you should be at the level where you can figure out how to do it, because it's not. You're going to use the selector switch. It's got an on or off contact depending on which way you do it. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to test the logic, everything. So stop, start. I do want to talk about the outputs a little bit, because if I go to my output program, you basically have 6 outputs for this. So you will have Y1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you'll have 6 output rungs, each of them as an output, and you only use 1 rung per output. Now your inputs or your logic will wind up being ORed, so you'll see a bunch of branches and it will quickly expand out, but that's what that's how you do it. So if I go to address picker and I just say, okay, I want to go to Y1. And so if I make Y1 my north-south red, and then I'm just doing them in order, north-south yellow, and north-south green, and then my 4-bit will be east-west, red, east-west, yellow, east-west, green, So those are my outputs. My inputs, I don't remember which is start and stop, but I know that X3 is my selector switch. So this program is going to be my cop switch. So an officer can control the condition of the light. I don't remember which one was start and stop. I'm also going to use a C bit, and I like to use C20 for my on. You can use C1 if you'd like to. So C20 is going to be on, or cycle on. Okay. Eventually, we're going to need timer constants. And so when I outlined on the board the other day, we have a red, red. Well, how long is red, red? So this is going to be red, red. And this will be red, green. Does not like the dash. It's warning me about it. Then red, yellow. Whoops, I meant to put that on the line. Okay, red, yellow. And this is the order of them. And then I'm gonna have another red, red. So since I can't name it again because it's doing this, so this is red, red 2. And I can go up here and make this one red, red 1 in order to be consistent. And now I'm going to do green, red. And yellow, red. Okay, so I've got all those in there. My data types, I'm going to use them. And I want to go in and change them. Display the Modbus address. So address comment. So I'm just putting in nicknames. Okay. All right. So now for my timers, I am in the timing. No, I'm in the output window. Tells me right up here. So now I want to do timers. And so I'm going to start with just timer 1. So my timer 1 is my first option. I can go in and put a nickname in here if I want to. I can just select it. So this will be red, red 1. Time. Oh, it's making me select it. Okay. My set point will be that DS. So what I'll have to do is go in and timer 1, DS1. So I'll have a timer 2, etc. You got to make sure you change this to seconds. Unless you want to multiply all your second values by 1,000, which you can do. I want an on delay timer and I want non-retentive, which are the defaults, so I'm good there. So there's my timer. Now what's going to set off my timer 1? Well, what's going to set my timer 1 off is my cycle being on. So C20. And that's going to come from my start stop logic. That's going to control whether C20 is on. And I'm also, we're going to have to come back and modify this later because we want it to then cascade. So I need to add another timer. Guess what I'm going to choose? T2. And for my set point, DS2. Unit has to be seconds. And we're good. Now, I know what's going to start timer 2, and that is timer 1 being done. So we'll come in here and say, okay, T1. So I'm just building a cascade, and I'm going to do this all the way down. So this would be timer 3, timer 4, timer 5, timer 6. So let's go ahead and add timer 6 in here. It'll let me. It's not going to let me. Okay. Yeah, it will. It should. Nope, doesn't want me to. Fine. T3. DS3. Unit is seconds. If you do this enough times, you will get there. What's going to set it off? T2. So now I'm up to timer 4. T4. DS4. Unit is seconds. Okay. What's going to set it off is T3. I should just be able to type it. Yep. And another timer. T5. You guessed it. DS5. Now to get this to run, you're going to have to go in and put values in those DS parts. So DS5. And what's going to set that one off? T4. And then finally, last timer, T6. DS6. Units are seconds. Okay. And T5 is going to set this off. Okay. So if I had values in the DS set points, and if this was downloaded, my timers would then cycle. So if cycle on happened, then this one would start. When this one gets done, this one starts. When it gets done, the next one starts, etc. We want this to repeat. So what's going to happen is when T6 gets done, we want to somehow make T1 false without going in and killing our cycle. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to say this. Double click and then T6. Now what does that do for me? When T6 is done, this instruction will go false. When this instruction goes false, all these timers will then turn off really quickly in sequence. And when T6 turns off, this will go back true. So as long as my cycle is still on, which I don't have to fool with the cycle, then this will start back over. And so we should be able to see this. Now, how do I put values in for DS1 and DS2? If I go to my data monitor, data view, I should say, and I type in DS1, DS2, DS3, DS4. And the nice thing about the data view is you can monitor things, you can test your program. DS5, 5, and DS6. Okay. Now, current value is empty because it's offline. So if it was online, you would see it, and you can go in and do an edit. So you will have to go in while you're online and put in your values. So your new values will be red should be a second. And then green, ultimately, we're going to do 15 and 3. For proving a program, you probably want 3, 2, 1. Another red, 1. You don't want anything less than 1 because it's just going to happen so fast. But this will prove your program. You'll be able to see the timers doing it. Now, if I was online, I could then double click in these boxes right here and it would write the number to the PLC's memory. And then these numbers would show up in the PLC's memory. Right now, they're going to be zeros. So when you're online, you're zeros, so this timer logic won't work until you do this part and you put some values in for those timers. Okay? That is, that should get the timers working. And the stop start, which I shouldn't need to help you with stop start. Okay. Eventually we're going to go to a blink cycle. So we're going to come back in here and we can either do another subroutine for blink timers. If we wish to, we can put them in here with the regular cycle timers. However we want to do it. You've got so many options in PLC, you just got to pick and go. Pick one, go with it, and usually you're okay. Okay. I have got to stop this recording. I thank you for watching. I hope this helps at least get started. On the outputs, when you go to the output rung, remember you want lights on while the timer's timing, which means, we'll close this. So if timer 2 is, I want the timer timing logic, I need the logic that turns it on. Any logic here, which we only have T1, and I need to have T2 is examine off, or this normally closed contact right there. That will be my timer timing logic. And that's what I use to turn on my outputs at the certain times that I want. Anyway, now I'll stop. And thank you.